Perfect.
So Paul Graver,
That's me.
that's you. So that I don't mess it up, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience?
Okay.
Who you are, what you do.
Okay. So I'm Paul Graver. I own EXSETIS Consulting, which is a process improvement quality systems consulting company. Comes off of 30 plus years in manufacturing. I was in the paper industry, not too far from here. I spent I cut my teeth up at Corinth at IP Corinth years ago.
Nice.
But yeah, so I was in the printing and paper making industry for a number of years, and now I spun this off, and I'm on my own doing my own thing and trying to help small businesses improve their processes.
Which we're going to talk about, and we're going to talk about barbecue sauce.
Yeah, that's another side.
That's
thing
another
I got
thing
going
we're
on. Yeah.
I can't wait to hear more about that. Why don't we start off with, and I'm also interested just to hear your thoughts too on how the paper industry has changed. But let's talk about why processes is so important to small businesses and really business of any size.
Sure. So process, just definition. It's a stepwise methodology to do what you're doing, for lack of a better way to put it.
Yeah.
I mean, that article I wrote, compared it to planning a trip. You have your directions, you have your snacks, you have all your stuff to get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
Same thing with business, whether it's big business, small business, you have to have a process on how you perform your tasks, how you communicate with customers, whether you're making something, you're making a widget, how are you piecing the parts together? Where are you getting your materials from? All that stuff needs, that process matters in that it gives you a path, it gives you a plan, gives people's responsibilities, whether it's this person's doing this person's doing that, this department's doing this department's doing that, who's communicating with who, and how the whole thing is going to flow. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, too many small businesses they start with the vision. This is the thing I want to make. This is my passion, which is great. That's what drives it. But you have to have a good process to get there, or you're not going to make money, or you're not going to be successful, or it's going to be a nightmare. So process is important because it gives you a pathway, it gives you a map on how to get to where you're going and most profitably and successfully. And that falls into quality controls and all those kind of things as well. And older companies, they get into habits. I'm not going to say good, bad habits or whatever, but they get into habits. It's the way we've always done it. Is that the best way? Possibly not. So always evaluating your process, always looking at how things are going, where have redundancies built in, where are you skipping steps necessarily, where are you redoing work that maybe doesn't have to be redone. So looking at your process is an ongoing thing to any business.
So you mentioned a few things there, and to relate things to a lot of our listeners, which are a lot of small business owners, a lot of the people we interview are small business owners in the local community. That's Warren, Washington, Saratoga County for everybody. Okay. So when people don't have process, what does it look like for them?
It's chaotic.
Okay.
It brings chaos into whatever you're trying to do because yes, you may have a basic process in your mind of how things are supposed to go, and you follow that mostly. But then the phone rings, or there's a crisis, or this shipment hasn't gone out when it was supposed to go out. Or so when reality or day-to-day stuff hits, it messes up that process unless you have it well defined. It can throw you for a loop, and it gives you something to always fall back on, a backbone, if you will, to what you're doing. And so if you don't have that, it can descend into chaos pretty easy because life happens. Yeah. Shipments don't show up. This vendor just called, I'm going to be delayed in getting you this or that. Stuff happens. You get drama with your employees or whatever. I mean, things happen. Life happens. And it will take away from what you're trying to get done. Yeah. And so if you have a process to fall back on, you have a method, you have written documentation on this is how we're supposed to do this. What if you have someone that's been doing this for a while, they kind of get used to it, but then they leave, they find another job. Now you got to train somebody else. If that other guy's gone, how are you going to train this person on how to do it? If you have a documentation, if you have a process, you can fall back on that for turnover, for changes, whatever. Yeah. So chaos, without process, you have chaos. And I
think that I've seen over my own career, either with businesses or myself specifically, that I have a process in my head, typically, right? About how I do things.
Yeah.
And then
step one, turn off the dishwasher.
Right. I know, right? We found a leak in our process, we did all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So do you find is that okay to have it stuck in your head? I mean, should people get those written down? Like, what does that look like?
I mean, no, it's not bad to have it in your head, but especially if you're a small business and you're the guy who has it in his head, people are going to keep coming back to you. Mm-hmm. What do I do now? What do I do now? How do I do this? How do I do that? And it's tugging you away from maybe taking that business to the next step because you're now sucked into the day-to-day of what your process is. But if you have documented it and trained your people on and they have something to refer to, and there's things that they're measuring, things that they're tracking that you can look at and observe and see how things are going, you then have the time to focus on getting your business to the next level, or to looking at new customers, or vetting out new vendors or whatever. But if you're tied back to the day-to-day because the process is only in your head and you have to direct people on what to do, they're not going to be efficient. They'll be frustrated, and it ties into staff morale as well, because all of a sudden they feel dependent on you to make their next step. Mm-hmm. Where you can empower your employees by giving them a process to hang on to.
It's interesting because years ago, and God, we're probably talking 20 years ago now.
Yeah.
I opened up a bar and restaurant, just a small pub.
Cool.
And it was cool for like a minute. I grew up in the restaurant business, so I knew what I was getting myself into.
That's a tough business, yeah.
It's not an easy business whatsoever. And I used to call it Hey Mike syndrome, where I'd have employees, I'd be like, oh, they got a bad case of Hey Mike syndrome. Because every 3 minutes of Hey Mike, and they'd have a question. Hey Mike, they'd have a question. And I ran into that so much. Yeah. It was terrible. It was frustrating because I'm trying to get stuff done.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm knee deep in accounts payable, and I got no money to pay accounts payable, so I'm stressed out. And then here comes the bartender or the cook or whoever, and with a Hey Mike.
With a Hey Mike, yeah.
And so process is what moves you out of that Hey Mike.
Yes, exactly.
That scenario.
Exactly, because it empowers people to do their job.
Yeah.
And it gives them the ability to know what they're supposed to do. And there's going to be stuff that happens that's going to turn into a Hey Mike, but those will be the one-offs, not the routine.
Yeah.
You don't want the Hey Mike to be the routine.
Right. And it was for me. I'm sure it is for a lot of people.
Oh yeah. Again, because if you have a vision, I want to open a bar, I want to do this, and you have this, but if you don't pull that process together, it can descend into Hey Mike pretty quickly.
Which is chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Very inefficient. Well, because they had to stop doing what they were doing to Hey Mike me. Mm-hmm. And then I had to stop doing so they could Hey Mike me. Yeah. And it was, it's just.
And, keep in mind, it's an iterative process.
Yeah.
Because, people learn, people develop skills, and then they come up with ideas as well. I mean, the other thing is you want to foster that where people say, hey, Mike, what if we did it this way? I think it would go better. Because you've given them the autonomy to do the job that you laid out in the beginning, but they've done it now 100 times, they may say, hey, well, I think I can make this a little more efficient. What do you think? Mm-hmm. That's the Hey Mikes you want, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Mike, I found a better way to do this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So when you're working with people and you're laying out or helping them put together the process, what type of things do you process? Everything? Do you just only do you process high level stuff, or what is that?
You start out with a little kind of a maybe 10,000 foot view. Mm-hmm. What's your process A to Z? What are you starting with? What's your end point? Whether it's a service or whatever you're providing. Let's look at a higher level A to Z, and really then talk about what's the perfect scenario. What in an ideal world, this is how my thing's going to go. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then you overlay the real world on top of that. Okay, because what's going to happen. Because then you start. The idea I like to do is let's sit in a room, let's get an empty wall and put a bunch of different colored Post-it notes on the wall, and that's your process. Because you can move them around. Mm-hmm. You can then say, okay, what if this happens? Then I got to go do this. Or what if we get this call? And so you can start to come up with those different pathways and how you're going to deal with problems. But you start out with that high level A to Z. In a perfect world, this is what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. because we all know the perfect world isn't going to happen most times.
Right.
But it's something to start with. And then like I say, you overlay the real world. Okay, what are some of the what if scenarios that are going to happen when things go, and then you start to build out those scenarios and give people think of a script of a call center. Like, if the guy ask this is your answer. If the guy asks that, that's your answer. It's almost the same kind of thing. If this happens, do this. If this happens, do that. If this falls out, you got to put this back in, and blah blah blah. You kind of walk, depending on whatever your process is.
Yeah.
But you work through those scenarios and you build on them, and it becomes almost like a living document of how our process is supposed to flow. And then that also can then turn into training documents and those kind of things.
Yeah.
But then you also need to build in process measurements. Because if you want your business to grow, you want to be able to measure things and track how you're doing. So at what point in this process, the process that you've mapped out, what are the key things you want to measure and track? And then what are the decisions you make based on what information you're getting? And that's the same thing for like a quality system.
Yeah.
What are the things that you need to track? What are the things that are important? And if they're not tracking the way you want them to, what do you do about it? So you want to build all those things into this process of stuff you can fall back on to then just operate your business. But also it gives you something to build on. Mm-hmm. So you want, because any company, the goal is to, one, make money, and two, probably grow to some degree.
Sure.
Not everyone's going to turn into an Amazon, but you're going to grow to some degree. You're going to build employees. So you want whatever you're doing, whatever that process you've developed, to be scalable. Mm. And if you don't write it down and build a structure, it's going to fall down at some point. So you want to have something to scale. I joke about, I love, we talked earlier, just the beginning, love doing home repairs, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I love some of these shows that you see on TV where, one particular one I'd like to bring up is Maine Cabin Masters.
Okay.
Yeah, have you seen that?
I have not, but it sounds like I want to watch it.
Yeah, it's a bunch of folks up in Maine. It's a brother and his sister and her husband and a bunch of their friends, and they take these old dilapidated camps that are family owned, and they fix them up for people, But the part I like is in the beginning when they strip it down and look at the structure of it. Like, it's sagging here, or this sill plate has rotted out, or whatever. They look at the structure of this thing, and it's this addition that Uncle Larry did back in 1957. It's sagging, because he didn't tie it into the main, beams, whatever. But they look at the structure of it, and they level it, they do all that stuff, and then they make it look pretty, But I like that structural piece. Is how do you build the structure of something that then you can build on?
Yeah.
And that's the same concept here. Is what's the structure of your business? What's the structure of your process? Because then you can build on it. You say you're making one thing, and now you want to make another version of it. You have something to work off of. Because steps A through L are the same. It's M is where you take a left turn and make something slightly different. But up to that point, your process is the same. You have something to work off of.
Interesting.
Yeah.
When you're doing that process, so I heard you talking about like if-then statements, kind of, right? Like if this happens, then do this. Can you plan for every eventuality?
No.
Okay, because that's how I feel like as you're saying that. I'm like, I feel like, because I'm sure you have some, or you've worked with people that are not always the most agreeable. Mm-hmm. Or maybe even just when you're in the sales process and you're talking to them about it, they're going to be like, well, you really can't because you can't make a process that deals with every single if-then thing that can happen, right? So if what I hear you saying is you're looking for something, it's like the 80-20 rule. You're looking for something that's going to work 80% of the time, right? And then that other 20% of the time you come up with another process, right, to deal with for when people get out of your process.
Or you have a base, the thing that comes out of the left field is you have, at least now you have a number of steps that you can follow, that you can apply different details to. Mm-hmm. But, if this machine breaks down, what are the key things you look for? What are the key steps you look for? Each one might be a little bit different, but you have something to, at least a structure a process to follow to troubleshoot potentially. And it might be this bolt broke or this gasket blew out or whatever. It might be a number of different things, but you're looking systematically through. Mm-hmm. So you're following somewhat of a process, but it's not so detailed that, because you can't. You can't come up with every scenario.
Yeah. Does the process focus that you have, does that come from your time in the paper industry? Yeah. Like, was there a lot of process that you guys did?
Oh, big time. Yeah.
I'd imagine, because you were at AP. Did you say you were at?
I was at IP Corinth. I started my career at IP Corporate Research Center in Tuxedo Park, downstate.
Okay.
And then got transferred up to IP Corinth, and that's where I really got into on the manufacturing side.
Corinth, for the people that live in Corinth.
Sorry. Yes, I think I'd get that right after all these years. Yes, Corinth. And then I left there and went to another mill up near Watertown.
Okay.
And then ultimately spent the bulk of my career down in Cohoes, New York. Not Cohoes.
I actually don't know as far as the I only know because I lived in Corinth for a number of years, and now I live in Greenfield Center. But I got corrected on many occasions. Yeah. So
I have too. You'd think I'd learn. But then for the last 20 years of my papermaking career, I was at Mohawk.
Mohawk, yeah. Yeah, I sold those guys snow removal a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
For a company I was working at. Shout out to North Country Snow and Ice Management.
Okay.
But they were, they were a hard get too, man. I was working my way in there. Had to work my way past the gatekeeper and then get to.
Well, the whole back area so the trucks can come in.
Yeah. Keeping that stuff clear. I'm trying to think. Was it Ed?
Ed Knott.
Yeah, Ed Knott. Ed Knott. I can't believe I remembered your first name. It's literally been like 20 years.
He's still there.
Is he really?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
He was nice to deal with, though. It was really funny, too, because I was a sales guy. And even though I had previously had my own snow company and sold it, and then I went to work for some friends at North Country. And then I remember we were on a sales call because it was like a multi-step way to get in the door with those guys.
Yeah.
And at one point, my boss, Scott, was with me, and Ed pulled him aside. I was like, hey, listen. Like, can the two of us sit down? I mean, Mike's a nice guy and all, but, he's a suit and tie guy.
Yeah.
Because I just wasn't...
he was a roll up your sleeves.
Oh, yes, he was.
Absolutely.
Yes, he was. He kind of had the air about him like maybe he was a Marine or something like that.
He was.
He was a Marine.
Yes, he was.
He had that vibe to him, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
No kidding. That's funny. Yeah. All right. Well, shout out one more time to Ed Knott because I did enjoy dealing with him. So... Back to process.
Yeah.
Sorry, I took us down that little tangent there. But so when you're building process, and I have to imagine it's like, and the reason why I brought up the paper company side of things is because they have process in place, right? So I have to imagine that once you build a process, that doesn't mean that you're done.
No.
Right, because those guys are you have to go back and refine it or change it, or
you tweak it depending on what happens. I mean, the papermaking process it's very straightforward. You slurry the pulp, you do this, you do that, and you dry it, and you roll it up, and you cut it, and all that. There's a lot more to it than that. Trust me.
Right.
But then what if you want to make a different grade? You're making, at Mohawk we made colored papers. On one machine we made everything from white to deep black. Mm-hmm. Okay, how do you deal with that? Color changes, those kind of things, thickness changes, whatever. So there's variations to your process that you have to these micro processes of how we're going to change the color, how we're going to do this, how we're going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for companies that, obviously in our current environment, everything's changing very quickly, right? Technology is changing fast. AI is speeding that up exponentially. Yeah. So how does that affect process building and maintenance, let's call it, for lack of a better term?
It gives you more tools.
Okay.
It gives you some really great tools to lean on. I mean, AI, I haven't really got into AI a whole lot, other than like an idea generator type kind of thing. But as it gets strength, it's going to give you a great tool to fall back on. And technology, I mean, just you think of just measurement tools of how to measure a process, and right now, you can have valves, you can have all kinds of temperature gauges, all kinds of pressure gauges, stuff that now report back to your central system, as opposed to a guy with a clipboard saying, okay, this one's at 12, this one's at 15, whatever. And it's all reporting back. It's all right there. That technology has now availed you to so much more information and how to tie things together and to look at the correlations of things. I mean, that part of process improvement and quality improvement and everything like that is looking at the correlations of what's happening. Why are we drifting off of target? and how is that correlated to something else that might be happening. And being able to pull all that information together using that technology that's now available, you can see so many more things. You can graph things together and saying, oh, look at those two are tracking one another. Oh, they must be connected somehow, kind of stuff.
It sounds complicated.
It can get that way.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, does it become overtly, so let's say a small business has no documented process. Does it look like a huge mountain to climb when you're first sitting down to do this? Or
it can be, but the whole thing about how to eat an elephant in small bites.
Yeah.
I mean, let's take it in pieces. Let's not get over ahead of ourselves. Again, look at that 10,000 foot view. Let's start and then start going down some of the detail processes, but get something that you're comfortable with, because you have to be comfortable with your process. Don't let it you own your process. Don't let it own you. And so you have to take it in manageable bites.
Okay.
And then take it from there. But have something that you can work off of, a structure, a basis that you work off of. And then you add the detail. And like I say, it's an iterative process. You continue to grow and you continue to learn, because you do something enough times, you're like, that's not working anymore. How do I make it better? You step back and you look at it like, well, if I do this instead of that, maybe it'll go better. And then you try it. Yes, okay, it worked, or it didn't work. And you try it again. And so you build on. It's something you constantly have to work on.
Is making it sticky? So like, so we had an operations individual in our company for a couple of years, and great guy. Did some process work, but the processes just were not sticky. Like, no one wanted to use them. They were horrible. It was just a big Word document that said a bunch of words. It was just a word salad. You know what I mean?
You got to keep it real. That's a dangerous thing. You can get into that. You can overthink your process. Okay. And then it becomes really messy. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, because no one would even look at the documents. And like even me, because I'm like I don't know how familiar you are with disc profiles, but like I'm a high D personality. No jokes, everybody. But I like, from a detail standpoint, I don't really like details. I like high level stuff.
Yeah, you're a big picture guy.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And so I would look at these documents and I would just get nauseous. I'm like, I'm not reading that.
I'm a bullet list guy.
Yeah, right.
I'm all about
bullets.
The bullet list. Yeah,
I love bullets.
It's got to be a useful tool, or it's not going to be. It's not going to be useful. That sounds a way goofy way to say it, but if you don't make it where it's going to work with the systems you have, the people you have. The other thing is, especially you get into small businesses, every small business has a personality.
Sure.
It's driven by the visionary or the owner, on how they think to do things, the people they've hired, how those people interact with one another. What works for one small business won't work for another one.
Yeah.
And so you have to work within your business personality. How people communicate with one another and how they interact with one another. And what you're measuring, don't measure stuff that doesn't matter. Measure stuff that matters. So have that conversation about what matters and what doesn't. Not that you ignore everything, but focus on the things that matter. And don't let it get too sticky, because then it's something you'll never use. Yeah. And it's not going to help you.
Okay. Yeah, because it's supposed to help you. Right?
Yeah. And there's a whole, the whole keep it simple, stupid kind of concept is, don't overthink it. Leave room for change. Leave room for error. Leave room for, this doesn't work anymore. This isn't working anymore. Or this new technology has now came into the process.
Yeah.
And now we have to, we can skip all these steps because this technology is going to help us get from here to there. So have room to be able to make those changes.
Yeah. Is there any part of your business you shouldn't process? Like, is there something you should be like, no, don't document that?
Not necessarily. I think everything is important. Even maybe it's just a bullet or two, but it's there. But leave room for creativity though. Okay. You gotta have room for creativity and personality, like I said.
Yeah.
Whether it's the people or the company. You got to have a little bit of flexibility there, because rainy days, sunny days, whatever, things change. So if you're too rigid, I say that, but if you're making a medical device, you got to be pretty rigid.
Sure. Yeah.
But some stuff you got to have some flexibility in it as well, because that's the real world. There is flexibility, but for things that need to be rigid, obviously you have that. But other stuff you can be a little loose.
Okay.
Leave room for life to happen.
And innovation, right? I'd imagine.
Yeah,
too, right?
innovate exactly. Because again, someone will come along and say, hey, what if we did it this way? And if you're too rigid, you don't allow for that thinking to happen. Because you're like, I'm making this, I'm doing this, I can't even think about anything else. You want to have that ability to be adaptive.
Yeah. Well, I have to assume too, like leaving that room for adaptation, like as an example. So, years ago, I was our website builder.
Okay.
I haven't built a website in at least 2 years at this point, maybe 3 years, 4 years. I don't even know. Kelsey Sherman, shout out to you. Because Kelsey's our lead on websites now. I don't even know if I could build a website at this point, but I'm still the one that's writing process.
Right.
So I'm just, I guess there's a question in here somewhere. I guess I'm wondering, like, as organizations grow and leadership and the people creating process become less in the trenches with their team, you kind of have to leave some room there, right? Like,
absolutely.
I don't know specific. I know that we do this and we do this and we do this.
Yeah.
I don't know all the subtle intricacies of making those
and
things happen.
at this point, you don't need to,
right?
Because you've built a team that has that skill set.
Yeah.
And some of it is handoff stuff. You got to be able to let go of some stuff as well and hand stuff off to people. Give people responsibility. Give people empowerment to do the job that you used to do that you don't need to do anymore.
Yeah.
So some of it is just it's that ability to hand off.
I know it's interesting because I've never successfully hired a salesperson and had them like do well, and
That's tough.
sales is tough.
It is.
But it's amazing at the same time. This is one of the conversations I had with Matt, with our new sales guy, where I was like, listen, like, this can be a really hard job. And like, you can go a long time sometimes without closing a deal and you can get beat up. But when you close those deals, holy moly, it's like a drug. Awesome. There is no bigger high in the world as far as I'm concerned than when I close business and bring in either new clients or I sell additional business to current clients, right?
Yeah.
Like, love it. It's the most amazing thing. And most of your job as a salesperson is like being friendly and sociable. Like you go to ribbon cuttings, you go to networks, you have coffees with people, like you do all these things. I'm like, you're really kind of getting paid to hang out with people.
Yeah.
Right. But you've got to turn, the hard part is turning that hanging out with people into something, into revenue. Right. Yeah. I do love it though, but it's hard. But so the point though is, before bringing Matt on, I knew I was going to hire a salesperson. And so I went and documented all the things of like, so I could actually train him. Because in the past, I never, like, I'd bring salespeople on. I'd be like, listen, your job is to go out and sell stuff. Like, pat on the butt, go get them, kid.
Go get them, yeah.
I didn't really do that. I didn't pat him on the butt, everybody. Figure of speech. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, I would just, go get them, man. Like, this is what you do. And we'll talk about it later. And I never really actually trained people, which is hilarious because I was in sales management for years and sales for years and was a sales trainer and consultant at one point in time. And I never would have advised anyone to do that. But then
you got comfortable with it. So
I did.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. I wasted a lot of money on that and a lot of time putting bad salespeople out into the world. But I have noticed, just with this time around, though, it's much easier having like, and again, it's not a perfect thing by any means, but just having like an outline of the things that he needs to know how to do.
Sometimes that's all it is. Sometimes that's all it is an outline of things. Because again, you get back into the different personalities. Some people will add different flavors to that outline, which is fine, which is good. But they have something to fall back on, and you have something to, as a manager, to track how they're progressing. Yeah, and then there's color and there's flavor in the middle of it all. Yeah, but you have that structure to follow.
It's interesting because you mentioned that before, the tracking and measuring. I remember reading an article in a trade magazine, probably 2010, somewhere around there, and it stuck with me ever since. Though, but it was about tracking. Yeah. In order to grow something, you have to be able to measure it.
Yep.
In order to measure it, you have to be able to track it. And that track, measure, grow has stuck with me ever since, as far as
it's key.
When you really want to get better results, if you don't even know what your current results are, you're not measuring any kind of KPI, then you need to start.
You need to start. It's important. I mean, whether it's you're tracking the process and how long it takes to make this piece of the process, or this part of the widget takes this amount of time, this takes that amount of time, this takes this amount of energy, whatever the key things that you got to measure, because everything, time, energy, materials, they impact your bottom line.
Yeah.
So every step of that process has a dollar value as well.
Yeah.
And so tracking it also, because sometimes it's just a matter of shaving 5 minutes off of a process that occurs once an hour, every day, every week, every month, every year. All of a sudden that turns into a dollar amount that you can put on your bottom line. So tracking those things, one for efficiency, but also for cost management. And how do you go to the next step? How do you build capital to add that second line in or whatever? I mean, there's so many things that you think about as growth. You got to build that capital somewhere. And how do you build in those savings to be able to do those next things?
Are there like a stand? I don't want to say standard, because then anyone listening is like, well, my business is unique, because every business is unique. But from a tracking standpoint, like, are there specific things that every single business should be tracking, like hands down?
Yeah, probably.
Because I struggle with this. I struggle with my business where I'm like, it's funny because actually I'm trying to get a meeting on the books with my CPA and our bookkeeper to what KPIs, and for those of you who don't know KPI, most of you probably do, but KPI is key performance indicator. Yeah. So what KPI or KPIs should I be tracking as a company? Like, what's going to tell me if I'm making good decisions? What's going to tell me if I'm making bad decisions? What's telling me if I'm profitable or if we're losing efficiency somewhere? Yeah,
I mean, a lot of it is determined by what your product is. Whether you're providing a service, so like, one company I worked for, they were providing a service, and turnaround time was a KPI. Okay. How long does it take to turn around the service that we're providing? Because there wasn't a physical product that we're handing; it was a service. So one of the key KPIs was turnaround time. And so that's what you're measuring, to say how quickly am I turning this around to get to the customer quickly, because that mattered for that business, as opposed to the key quality measurements that you're taking in a product. Is the product going to work when it gets to the customer's place? If it doesn't work, then you've missed a key KPI. Right. Because now they bought something that's not going to work, and they got to deal with a complaint and return and whatever. Yeah. So a lot of them will be determined on what your process or your product is, or your service. But there's going to be key things that are going to be on your profits and loss, your P&L, your profit and loss statement of these are my raw material costs, these are my energy costs, these are my staffing costs. This is what I'm paying per hour. All this. So there are key things that you need to measure just to make all those things balance out in your P&L. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, again, it can be pretty basic in the beginning. Yep. And then you build on it from there.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's sage advice, right? Like to just start with something.
Start with something.
Yeah. Progress, not perfection.
Yeah. Don't overthink it and get bogged down, like we talked earlier, of a word, turning something into this word salad. I mean, I've had a guy work for me. I'd ask him for a write-up of something, and it would be like 3 pages long in small print. I'm like, dude, no one's going to read that. It's great, very thorough. That's awesome. But if you're going to put out like what we used to do at Mohawk, they still do it now, but we got a run coming up in the middle of the night for a special customer. Let's put out a quality alert. Yeah. These are the key things that we want you to focus on. Yes, you need to follow, all the general stuff. Follow the specifications. Do this, do that. But this particular customer had a problem in the past, and let's give it an extra eye or an extra look. That needs to be a bullet list. Don't make it like 3 pages long, because the guys on the floor aren't going to read it. Right. Make it colorful, make it pretty.
I'm not going to read it either.
Yeah. Make it interesting. So like, what's this about? Okay. All right, we can focus on that. I'll give it a little extra look. Sure. Okay, boom. Message received. Message given, message received. Job done. But if you overthink it and overwrite it, again, you're going to be at that point like,
I don't want to look at it. Oh my God.
I don't got time for that.
No. Can you just give me the summary? Right?
Yeah,
like, that's all I want. That's it. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I love the, AI summary that Google gives you now in the searches. I don't want to look through all those links, man. Like, just give me the rundown.
Yeah.
Right?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. AI is freaking going to put us out of business. They're not, but
They're not.
they're actually, we're so integrated now with AI as far as what we do in the marketing
God,
realm.
yeah.
It's
Sure.
I don't think there's a single thing that we do that does not have AI integrated in some fashion.
I mean, just think, again, I'm going to age myself, but think of a world without cell phones.
Right.
I mean, I grew up in that world where you didn't have a computer, in your pocket to look at, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Or how can I get this information? You'd have to go to a library and look it up.
I was going to say, or grab one of those Encyclopedia Britannicas off the shelf, man.
So it's like, all right, so that technology has dramatically changed our world.
Yeah.
AI is going to be the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Again, how do you use it to your advantage? Well, granted, there's about a downsides to people on their phones while they're driving. There's there's pros and cons to everything.
Yeah.
But that's the world as it progresses.
It's not going away. Better learn how to play along, I guess. I know we want to get to barbecue sauce here. I just had a couple more process questions, and really and not necessarily process questions, but just related to what you do and how you work with companies. I know a lot of. I don't even know if you can. Do you consider yourself a business consultant? Is that the class of work that you do?
I guess. I always like
not to lump you in with a label, but
because what I do could apply to a business that's not. My heart, my soul has always been in manufacturing. You're physically making something, but it doesn't have to be that. It could be a service or any kind of business. And it could be I talked to one guy, a law firm. I don't know anything about law. Other than to not speed too bad,
right? Other than not break it,
But as far as what's the the lawyer, if you're really a good lawyer doing what lawyers do, but what's your business process? How are you getting clients? How are you billing clients? How are you responding to clients? So I could help with something like that, because if they're doing their thing, if the visionary of whatever company is doing their thing that they're so good at. They still have to pay the bills. They still have to bring in the customers. They still have to react to whatever's happening. And, so a business process can help them do that. A lot of businesses that start, they have to have a business plan to get the funding from the bank or whatever. But that's not necessarily a process. That's a plan, a business plan, but it's not a process. So, so I guess I'm a business consultant. It could be non-manufacturing. Like I say, my go-to is manufacturing, but it doesn't have to be that.
I know that a lot of, and the reason why I asked that question is just because I was going to ask this question, is that I know a lot of business consultants these days start their engagements working with clients on a lot of things like vision, mission, values, goals. Do you get into that side of things, or are you mainly more operational?
More operational.
Okay, so you're not getting into the what we
I
call the woo of business.
Yeah,
but,
I can, but that's not my thing.
Yeah,
I'm more of that's already kind of been done because that's part of your business plan. That's my vision, all that. I will tap into that because part of that will drive how your process flows. What's your mission, what's your company's personality. But I'd rather tap into that than build it.
Gotcha. What about things like org charts and kind of some of that stuff?
It comes together, because part of that process is who's responsible for what. So some of it's almost like a brainstorming activity of, okay, this is my process. These are the pieces and parts that have to happen. But now who's doing what? And if this happens, who gets called? So some of it, they merge together. So an org chart will, I need to understand what that looks like, but then also understand how to use it to react to the process.
Okay. Before we talk barbecue sauce, anything on the process side that I should have asked that I didn't?
Well, it's interesting. It's just a message out to the world.
Yeah.
Watch the news for 5 minutes. There's a lot of just stuff going on out there. I'm not going to get political, but there's a lot of stuff going on out there. So there's a lot of anxiety of what do I do? Should I work on anything? Focus on what you have control over. I mean, that's kind of my message right now is from a process guy. It's like, oh, I don't know, tariffs, this, that, whatever. I don't know if I want to deal with anything. Well, now's the time to focus on what you can control. How can you shave 5, 10, 15% out of your process without dealing with the outside world? Look internally on where, because there's cost savings out there. There always are. And my message is, what's the cost of doing nothing?
Right.
What's that going to cost you? It's going to cost you something. So, and if you want to be able to deal with all these external factors, all the more reason to have your internal stuff in order.
Okay.
So,
I think that's a perfect spot to move on to barbecue sauce.
All right. Barbecue sauce.
Barbecue. So tell me about the barbecue sauce.
So it was a company that my wife and I started 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
Something like that. Anyway, it was a fun family project. So it all started with a Super Bowl party at a friend's house. And what are you guys going to bring? Oh, I'll bring wings. Okay. So I barbecued some wings and I went to the kitchen and said, all right, I'm going to grab this out of the cabinet, this and that, throw something together, make a sauce. And it tasted great. Just add this, keep adding stuff till it's the way you like it. And everybody loved it. They're like, oh, you got to give me the recipe. I'm like, I got no recipe. I don't know. I just threw a bunch of stuff together. And they're like, well, you got to make it again. So it turned into a annual thing. Well, you're going to bring your wings, right? Like, yeah, sure, okay. And then it turned into, you should bottle this stuff. Like, yeah, okay, yeah. And then, COVID hits, and everyone had a lot of time on their hands.
Yeah.
And because talking about process, I did look into what does it take to have a recipe of something that you throw together and turn it into a legal, shelf-stable product that won't kill people if they eat it.
Yeah.
It needs to be safe. There's a process to get there. You have to have your recipe approved. You have to figure out your bottling technique, all those kind of things. There's so many steps, which I never, when I was knee deep into stuff at the mill, I didn't have time. You have to take an 8-hour food safety class. There's all these things you have to do. So then COVID hits. I had a little more time on your hand. And so I was able to get this thing started, create the LLC, do all the legal stuff to start a business, but then go through all the steps to actually get the product approved, deal with, logging in and registering everything with the FDA and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was going to be one of the questions I was going to ask.
Oh, there's a whole, you have to, through New York State, it goes through Ag and Markets.
Yep.
But you have to get your recipe approved through the Food Venture Center. It's part of the Cornell complex, but they're connected to New York State. So it's what they call it, a scheduled process. Talk about process, where you talk about all your ingredients, what are your steps, what are your key measurements. In my case, barbecue sauce, it's an acidified product, so it needs to be below a certain pH and bottled and capped at a certain temperature.
Interesting.
For that to not have any kind of safety issues. So,
what kind of safety issues?
Botulism.
Ooh.
Yeah, not a good one.
No, probably don't want that.
Not a good marketing plan.
No. Giving people botulism is not a good marketing plan for sure.
So, but there's just these key steps you have to follow. Bottle cleanliness, all that kind of stuff. And so then, you fast forward to, okay, I've started this business. We're making this stuff. Now I got the New York State food inspector coming, watching me do my stuff.
So, do you have like a commercial kitchen?
Yeah. So we rent time at the Bat and Kill Kitchen in Salem, New York.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh yeah, no. For this product, you have to be in a commercial kitchen.
Yeah, that's what I thought when you first started talking about it. I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure you have to it's not something you can just do in your kitchen.
No, not allowed.
You can do podcasts in your kitchen though.
Yes, you can. Yeah, so you got to rent time at a commercial kitchen, and the place in Salem is great. They have everything we need.
So, just a small tangent. The place in Salem, so they have just a commercial kitchen. They rent it out to people by the hour kind of thing.
Yeah, and they do summer programs for kids and stuff. And
that is cool.
Yeah, local farmers or local people have gardens that will come do their canning there, that kind of stuff.
Oh, no kidding.
So yeah, it's a great deal.
I gotta get those guys on the podcast.
Oh yeah,
I want to talk to them.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So you've got a recipe.
Yeah.
So you have a place to create it.
Yep. I got bottles.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so can I see that?
Yeah.
Whiplash.
That was the original. That was what started it all. That was the wing sauce that I concocted for that Super Bowl party.
Okay.
And I play on words. Win Plays Show can tie into the whole
Okay.
Saratoga thing.
You know, if you pulled this bottle out and it was Sweet Baby Ray's, I would have just had a heart attack. I'm like, you're the Sweet Baby Ray guy, because that's before this moment. I was a Sweet Baby Ray's guy. Now I'm a Whiplash guy.
There you go. So, but that's how it started, and so that's the original one we came out with, and then talk about deviating off your process. We came up with 2 other flavors that are off the similar base recipe, but a little bit different. So that one's called Hat Trick. It's a more traditional sweet and tangy barbecue. It has applesauce in it, hickory.
To the camera.
There you go. Put that on there. Yeah.
If you're watching on YouTube or Rumble, you can see the bottle there.
So Whiplash started as like a wing sauce. So it's kind of a little heat, got a little sweet to it, but it doesn't have any smoky flavor. This one's got hickory smoke to it, and then we took this.
I like the tangy. I like a good tangy barbecue sauce.
You got a lot of vinegar in there to help with that. And then this last one was called Get Jacked.
Oh, Jesus.
So that one is a spicy barbecue. It's not gonna knock you on the floor, but
you're gonna know it's got.
You're gonna know it's got some heat. Yeah. So that was so we got kind of a mild, medium, and hot kind of thing going on.
This is fun.
Yeah,
I love stuff like this.
It's a lot of fun, and my kids are involved. Like I say, I had grown kids. My daughter helps with social media, which I'm an old guy. I don't do social media.
I don't blame you.
But she actually did help me with some of the label design. She actually drew that little pepper guy.
The pepper guy?
Yeah, it's her own hand.
That's cute.
And my son has helped with sales, and we actually have gallon business with a couple bars in Rhode Island.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it's on the menu. It's on the menu on their wing stuff.
That's cool.
So, and he's come to help me with some production runs and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's been a fun kind of family project, and like I said earlier, it's a fun thing to talk about. Mm-hmm. Who doesn't like barbecue, right? And so it's successful in that it's self-sustaining. I don't put any more money into this.
Yeah.
Unless I want to really grow it, which is it's one of those careful what you wish for kind of things.
Yeah.
The food business is tough. The margins are tight. Everything else.
Well, especially once you start trying to grow on scale. Everything I understand from folks who do this kind of stuff is that retrospectively they're like, it was way better when it was smaller, and then when they try to go to a national audience, it just it's a whole different animal.
It'll consume you.
Yeah.
And so for us, it's a fun side thing.
Yeah.
It's not paying the mortgage, but it's it's kind of doing its own thing. It's a great talking point because I can talk about process. But it's fun. We have it in a bunch of local stores. We have an online store. So it's fun.
What's the website for the online store?
TheGrillPantry.com.
TheGrillPantry.com.
Yeah, that's the name of the company is the Grill Pantry.
Very cool.
So
I absolutely love stuff like this. Like I went through a cheese making phase a couple years ago where I was making cheese. And then currently I'm just starting my soap making phase, and I have dreams of selling soap.
There you go.
They get $7 for a bar of soap at the farmer's market.
Oh, I believe it.
$7.
Yeah.
It's wild. And then so I was commiserating about that one day, and then I went and bought soap from the grocery store to see what the prices were over there, and it's not much better. No. Depending on what kind of soap you're getting. Unless you're going to go with like the Dial or the Ivory or something, then you can get it for like $2 a bar.
Yeah.
But most like decent soap that's not full of poisons is like $5 to $10 a bar of soap.
Oh yeah.
That's wild to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you knew or not, but we raise pigs here on the farm.
Oh,
so so I do spring pigs. So I get piglets in the fall and we raise them over the winter, and then they go to market in the spring. And so I have no access to, or I have no want for access to pig fat, but I can render to lard, and then I can make soap. So I literally just over the weekend rendered a batch of lard that's going to get turned into soap here shortly.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's so fascinating.
But it's fun.
It is fun. It is
it's
fun.
Really fun.
Making this stuff, it's a long day.
That's why I brought it up. It's just fun. It's fun to do that stuff.
I love cooking. I love barbecuing, all that kind of stuff. But it's a long day to go and make, 300 bottles of barbecue sauce.
Oh, I bet it is.
Because we're literally, bottling it manually, everything. Yeah. But it's a cool process. It's fun. It's a fun. Again, my kids are involved. I have some people that order it regularly, they're like, this is my favorite stuff. I'm gonna get it all the time. I'm like, okay.
That's funny. So, I know we actually went through a small phase last fall and started making our own hot sauce because we found this hot sauce, and I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's like one of the best hot sauces I've ever had in my entire life.
That's great.
And but it's like $13 or $14 a bottle, right? So I'm just like, and I hate to sound so cheap, everyone, but just, the cost of everything is so expensive these days. I'm just like, holy moly, I could do that myself. So I spent a solid 4 months trying to make my own hot sauce that would taste like that. I was never successful with it.
It's tough.
It's
tough. I mean, that was the thing was with developing these recipes is, it started with just stuff that was in my fridge, ketchup, mustard, whatever, you throw a bunch of stuff together but then to actually make it, so I'm actually going to make money off it. I had to reverse engineer ketchup and mustard. And it's like,
right, because you can't use with the FDA. You can't say I put Heinz tomato ketchup in my recipe.
As long as you mention it here, you can. But from a cost perspective, you're better off buying the tomato paste and the vinegar and the sugar
and making your own.
Yeah. And so you back that recipe up. So you had to reverse engineer everything to make these ingredients. So you're actually making money off of this thing.
Okay.
Because the margins are tight in retail food anyway.
Yep.
But the bottles cost so much, the cap, the label, everything. Oh yeah. You got to wrap all that stuff into the.
Do you have a machine or do you do these by hand?
I built a little jig that you put the labels
that you
on.
use.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, you can get there's a little machine.
I'm sure. Yeah.
So we'll probably get to that point, but right now it's a low budget process.
Yeah.
Everything's done manually.
Yeah, when I went through my beer making and cider making phase,
I did beer making for a while.
Yeah. Hand capping bottles. Like, what a pain in the ass that is.
Yeah, it is.
Not to mention washing the bottles.
Yes.
And sterilizing.
That's the beauty of this commercial kitchen. We have all these bottles. They have a commercial dishwasher there. You just load the bottles in.
Run them through.
As long as you measure the temperature. One of the key things is as long as the rinse is at 180 degrees, you're good.
You're good to go, yeah.
Yeah, if not, you got to send it through again. So there's all these steps you got to check off.
So that you're not giving anybody botulism.
Correct.
My new favorite marketing plan. I mean, any press is good press, as they say. Right?
Yeah, okay.
You'll be that brand that gave everybody botulism. They'll never forget your
never
label.
Forget you. Don't want that.
No, you don't want that. So. This is amazing.
So it's a fun thing. It's, and again, it's like my son even, he's into it as well. I mean, he just sent me a note the other day. He hired a new employee and he said, "Oh, could you send him some barbecue sauce for me?" Yeah, sure. It's a fun thing.
Yeah, and fun little gift.
He travels a lot, for his work, and so he talks about this to people in airports. I'm like, oh yeah, maybe my dad and my family have this.
Is he in sales?
He's in sales.
Yeah, that sounds like a sales guy move.
Guy. Yeah, he's a sales guy, but.
That's funny.
But yeah, I mean, and so it's just a fun thing to talk about. So
very cool.
And the whole family's involved. So
which is more fun, yeah. I'm trying to get my oldest daughter into the soap thing with me. She's resisting.
Yeah.
Why are you resisting, Dalen? Yeah, she's resisting me. I keep saying, "You want to come out to the house? We'll make soap." And she's like, "What?" She's like, "Why do you keep talking?" I'm like, "Because it'll be fun. We'll make soap. We'll do the things."
Yeah,
fun
family time.
That's right. Yeah. Why don't you want to hang out with me? I don't understand. Oh, being a parent is grand.
Yes.
So, grillpantry.com.
The Grill Pantry.
Thegrillpantry.com for the barbecue sauce. How do people find you?
So we're on the website. There's a where can you find us page. Yep. But we're at a bunch of local stores in Queensbury and Saratoga. I've found a happy place in some of these like artisanal butcher shops.
Yeah.
Ooh,
that's smart.
Yeah. So that's a good place for people to find our stuff.
You know what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to buy like a case of this from you, and then when I sell pigs, I'll give them a bottle of sauce with every.
We'll have to talk when we're off.
With every package, yeah.
Hey, we're onto something.
Well, because I was already thinking that I'd like give people a couple bars of soap from the soap hobby that I'm now creating, and which by the way is going to be called Mud Creek Soap Company.
Oh, I like it.
Because the creek here on the farm is called Mud Creek.
Okay.
And we're going to use sand from the creek for the exfoliator.
Oh, there you go.
Yes,
very cool.
I think I can do that. I don't even know if I can do that, but we're going to find out.
Probably have to sterilize it first.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, who knows? Sorry. Just like thinking all these funny jokes in my head right now, and they're probably not funny. But this would be cool to include with them though, to like give them like a little care package, some different sauces.
There you go.
And how about on the, oh my God, I'm going to say the name of your business wrong.
EXSETIS.
EXSETIS.
So think of it's a made up word.
Yes.
It stands for extra set of eyes.
Okay. Extra
EXSETIS.
set of eyes.
Yeah.
I knew the extra set of eyes.
Yeah.
But I was like, Exodus? No, it's not Exodus.
EXSETIS.
EXSETIS. Okay.
Yeah, that's just EXSETIS.com.
EXSETIS.com. Okay. Yeah. And so if people want to get a hold of you, is that the best, following the business on the process
side? On the process, there's a contact page. My cell number's there, my email's there, everything.
Cool.
Yeah, so.
And who is, we kind of touched on it, but who's like a good client for you right now?
I kind of say small to mid-sized manufacturing, and I say that in that, smaller companies, they have a limited manufacturing management team. So everyone's wearing lots of hats. Mm-hmm. Everyone's dealing with the chaos of the day. No one has time to step back and look at stuff. To analyze, to have that extra set of eyes. To look at your process, to say, hey, why are you doing it this way? What do you think about this? Or what are the key things you're tracking? Have you looked at how are you looking at your data? Mm-hmm. I'm a big spreadsheet data guy too.
Yeah.
So, let me look at your data, and then I can tell you maybe some other ways you can do things. So that's the whole extra set of eyes thing is like, so small and mid-size, typically manufacturing, but any kind of business. Help me help you smooth out your process.
Yeah. Just make things a little easier.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming out to the farm, man.
This is great. Thanks for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna ask you, but you already answered the question. You don't have social media for the
EXSETIS. LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm on LinkedIn.
Okay, so people can find you there too.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Yeah, we'll try to get you out of here on time.
All right.
And thanks everybody, of course, for listening.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Yeah.
And thanks to our community partners. Of course, you guys make this show and a lot of what we do at Buying Local happen. So thank you to all of you. And of course, thanks to the listeners. You can find us please subscribe too, by the way, guys. If you're listening to our podcast on a regular basis, subscribe on YouTube, Rumble, Apple or Spotify, wherever you go, and do us a favor too, and give us a good review. We had I just realized that we had done an interview with an organization locally that was really getting beat up a couple of years ago, and they had a whole crew of people that really did not like them, and they gave us a bunch of bad reviews for their episode that I did with those guys, which is not cool. Yeah. It's our job to give everybody a voice, whether you agree with them or not, or whether I agree with them or not, does not matter. So I don't think that our podcast is a 1.7 stars, guys. So if you're listening, you do us a favor, go ahead and just shoot on over and give us a little bit better of a review than that. We'd appreciate that. But anyway, we appreciate you for listening, even if you think we are a 1.7 star podcast. So thanks, everybody. You'll hear from us next week.
Thank you.